to the channel, Kevin, George. Thank you for taking out your time to be on the channel. Once again, a warm welcome to you, Kevin.
Appreciate the opportunity, Joby, to be here with you. I'm very excited.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for being on the channel again. Kevin, for the benefit of our viewers, could you just give a little brief about what you're doing, where you are based out of, and what you do, Kevin?
Absolutely. Currently, I'm working at Methodist Hospital of Chicago. My role is Director of Patient Access, which involves insurances and admissions. I also have a role as the administrator of Bethany Retirement Community. It's in a shelter facility over about 85 residents that's connected to the hospital.
Amazing. Well, that's absolutely amazing, Kevin. Lovely to hear that. Kevin, your job is very demanding and you're short on time, but thank you for taking out the time again. Let me just jump straight in, Kevin. Kevin, with all the kind of job pressures that you have and the fight for time, uh, I see a poster at the back. Okay, does that have to do anything with what you might be doing, or rather what you wish you might be doing, outside of work, Kevin?
You are 100% accurate, Joby. The picture behind me is the inspiration that has given me for me to even start playing basketball. For people or viewers at home, it's a picture of Michael Jordan in the back. Um, Basketball has been just a hobby for me since I was 6 years old.
Wow, wow. So basketball. So you played a lot of basketball during your school days and college days, Kevin?
Absolutely. Yeah, I played. I went to Maine West for high school. I was on the varsity team there. In college, I played college intramurals, and even now, I play for my church in various tournaments in the Chicagoland area, to the East Coast, New York, and Philadelphia. And I also made a trip a few years back to India for a basketball tournament.
Hold on. I'm going to take this one at a time, okay? So so Kevin, you played a lot of basketball. You've enjoyed that, and now you're working full time. Now, you mentioned India too, okay, in the middle of all of that. So let me start with saying, do you get any time at all today, because you're no more, you're not in school anymore, you're not in college anymore? Do you have any time to play, or is it just flipping magazines or the remote channel?
No, I definitely, right now I try to do the best my ability to play at least 2 times a week. So currently, I'm playing every Monday and playing every Wednesday to kind of maintain form and just, I love the game so much, and my passion has never changed since I was 6. So, you know, some days I may not have time, but the following week I'll do the best I can to make time.
Wow, Kevin. So in spite of your work, you are taking your time to play, twice a week on an average, regularly, right? Is that,
Absolutely.
yeah, I heard that right?
Yep.
So Kevin,
Absolutely.
you're not as gray as me, okay? You haven't reached a moment in time, where I'm thinking, okay, I've missed out on life now, let me catch up on some of my hobbies and passions, etc. Now that time has gone by, you're still in the prime of your youth, and you're working and you're still taking your time. You know, you must be really loving the sport, Kevin.
Absolutely. And now and it's funny, Joby, because the people that I've kind of grew up with that played with me when I was young, they, in their stage of their life, they've got married, their job, they've kind of left the game. And I'm kind of like the last remaining in my age groups. But now I think it's important for me to kind of pass on my knowledge of the game to the younger generation, to my brother, and all to my younger fellow teammates, because I feel like I want to be that person that I want to pass on my knowledge to some people. So I think the younger generation is important for them to understand how to continue to play basketball the right way.
Fantastic, Kevin. And Kevin, do you think playing alongside your work life, your busy work life, do you think it's been of help? Do you think it's done you good in any form or manner that you carry on playing?
Oh, oh, absolutely. Especially with the recent COVID,
Yeah.
work's been even more stressful. When I'm dealing with the senior living facility with residents, it was very scary for me for this past year. But basketball was one avenue for me to, when I go and play, it's kind of like my sanctuary. Things that stress me at work kind of goes away. I get to enjoy the game, and I think it's important because in life, any job you do, you got to be able to do something to kind of de-stress you, because if you don't, then people kind of tend to go in the wrong direction. So that's why my entire life basketball has been one thing that I always go to when I need just to kind of time away, to step away from things, kind of de-stress myself, and then kind of regain form and continue my working life.
Fantastic, Kevin. And Kevin, may I ask you a personal question? Are you married, Kevin? You married?
Yes, I've been happily married for about 3 years to my amazing wife Jency.
Okay.
And we also have a dog named Kobe. So
lovely. So Kevin, how does your better half take this basketball passion, alongside your work? I mean, how does she tolerate all of this? Sorry.
Yeah. So great question. A lot of my friends ask me the same question. How can you continue to play, when your wife allows you? When Jenta and I first spoke to each other, I kind of made it very obvious and clear how important the game of basketball meant to me. And luckily for me, Jency, when she was younger, she played basketball, she coached basketball. So it was kind of a natural fit. And that's why to this day, she hasn't given me any issues. She wants me to continue to play as long as my body allows me to. She comes to all my tournaments and she continues to support me. So that's why I'm lucky, and it's funny because my dad, when it was time for me to get married, he always said, he's like, oh, when you get married, you're going to retire from the game of basketball and, you're on to the next family. But in my head, I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? If I find someone that likes the game of basketball, I don't have to retire that early. I can continue on. So here I am now. Worked out really well.
Lovely. And does Jimsy have a hobby or a passion like you that she understands? You mentioned she likes basketball, and
Yeah, absolutely. It worked out for the both of us because my hobby is basketball, and Jency has such a great desire of opening up her own kind of bakery. So at the moment, she's kind of baking various items from cupcakes to cakesicles to cookies, all the holiday theme, you name it, she does it. So that's why it's kind of nice because she kind of has her hobby of baking, and then I kind of have my hobby of basketball. So we both kind of balance each other out.
Wow, that's absolutely lovely to hear, Kevin. So both of y'all, keeping a busy life, keeping it, on the treadmill when it comes to work, and then taking out time to just enjoy some of your interests, your passion, and taking that forward, right, Kevin? That's absolutely lovely to hear. So
thank you.
So Kevin, let me just go back to something that you had mentioned a little while ago. You mentioned India. You said you even traveled to India. Was that as a tourist? Was that how is it connected to basketball? I seem to.
Yes. Great question. So normally, every 2 years when I was growing up, I would go to India to visit my grandparents from both my mom and my dad's side. I was very close to my grandparents, especially my grandfather on both sides growing up. But so that was my way of going to India every 2 years. But the funny thing was, when my grandfather passed away in 2012, it was kind of hard for me to get that motivation again to go to India. But my dad, all credit goes to my dad because my dad always has a way to kind of, motivate me in ways that he doesn't even know, because he brought the opportunity to me saying that, our local church and has been a prominent church in our family. My dad brought the idea that there was a basketball tournament coming up. He told me that you may have an opportunity to kind of join the kids from the local town, and you can play against, various teams throughout, the town. And at first, I wasn't very interested, but my dad continued to kind of convince me and say, this would be a great opportunity for you to kind of, see how your talent is over there. You can teach the kids. And when he kind of mentioned that to me, that was kind of a great motivation factor for me to go out. And it was tough because I had a local football tournament that same weekend, so I had to kind of sacrifice kind of going out to India with a few of my cousins and playing with the kids from the town in a tournament where, it was one day. I didn't have really, I only had a couple of days to kind of really practice with the kids. But you know what? We got second place. Obviously, winning it would be the number one goal. But the time that I had getting second place, I think that's such a huge accomplishment for the kids there. And the one thing that I really appreciate the most, because those kids, even though they may not be as skilled, the kids over here in the States, they love the game and they just wanted to learn. So it really was extra special for me to kind of like pass on my knowledge of the game and try to teach them as much as I can, for them to get better. So it was just a great feeling for me. And this is the town that my dad grew up in, my aunts, my uncles. So it was just a great way for me to kind of give back to the community.
Wow. So that's lovely to hear, Kevin. You've actually traveled, back to India to even play the game, and take that, in your own way, helping out the, where you could. Kevin, I won't take more of your time. I want to thank you for your time, but I'm sure a lot of the viewers there are going to watch this and going to really, love what you're actually doing. You're not waiting to age and then go into self-discovery mode. You're living your life, a tough life, not easy life, and more so this year, as you mentioned, one of the toughest years for the healthcare industry. And there you
Absolutely.
are, even in the thick of this, playing ball. Fantastic. Your passion, for, Kevin, speaks so loud. Thank you for your time, Kevin. Thank you for taking out your time to be on this channel.
Thank you, Joby, for giving me the opportunity. I hope I can come back soon for another episode.
Thank you so much, Kevin. My best regards.